Hello, everybody, and welcome to the December 12th, 2023 iteration of the Kubernetes SIG-Windows community meeting. As always, these meetings are recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so be sure to adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. Let's get started today. First, announcements. Big announcement is 1.29 release is scheduled to go out tomorrow. So anybody who's been waiting for features that are in that release, they should be able to kind of get the customers to try or users to try pretty soon. Next announcement on the list here is, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so with the AWS team, we cut the first release of the Windows operational readiness. There is more to come in terms of task coverage, but the tool is good enough to start running on clusters. And we have been adding a few things like for output formatter and like JSON, JUnit, XML parsing for output. So I think we are in a good pace to start filling the gaps in the test.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any announcements they'd like to make?
I,
James, go ahead.
I think, or I don't know if this is an announcement, but I did, during triage, we kind of mentioned it, but I added a dashboard for the annual channel. The tests aren't quite passing. I did get a test pass run last week on one of the PRs that I had open, but it doesn't look like I got the prow configuration up and running. So I'll post a link in the doc here, but just, we do have a dashboard that should be passing sometime in the next week or so.
Yeah, and that looked like it was probably a configuration error on the prod job, not the functional issue with the test at this point. All right, next we can give some space for new contributors if they want to introduce themselves, but I don't believe anybody on the call here is new. I'll just pause for a moment. Okay, onto the agenda. Do you want to take over with the SIG-Windows DevTools ideas that you had here?
Yeah, so this is something very interesting that appeared today that I found out. So K3S is adding Windows support on their cluster. And basically the POC they have there is like getting a Linux machine, getting a Windows machine on a Windows dev box with Hyper-V, and making K3S run on with the Windows cluster, Windows node on it, on Windows. That's something we can take notes and take a look for future reference on the software development tool, the Windows development tool. At some point that we are having this conversation of like replacing KMU, replacing Hyper-V things to KMU and Hyper-V to run this Windows node, and at the same time having a lean hypervisor. That's something we are discussing last week, but I think it's worth the cap to write a cap to get these new ideas and like getting this new version of SWDT in place. Have a POC of running like KMU with Docker. It's super fast, and I could like join the Windows node in a kind cluster. This can be like a good result of this outcome because it's very fast, but you need like KVM, you need KMU running locally. If you can do a POC with Windows and Hyper-V using the same idea, because I think bringing the Linux control plane as well is too much using Hyper-V, but this is an option as they are doing. If you could run like SSL2 and run kind of on that, and let the Hyper-V machine connect into the SSL kind, this could be another path for the Windows tooling around that.
Yeah, I
and
think- Or go ahead, James.
I was say there's also some one of the community members also did some work with Minikube as well. So I don't really know much about like K3s and the differences between K8s, but I know Minikube runs like a full Kubernetes, and so there's also that out there, which is another possible way of kind of, I think, along the same lines of what you're talking about. I mean, so.
Yeah, I think we talked about the SIG-Windows DevTools a little bit before. Maybe we should, like, that future of it again. Maybe we should talk about that. I think kind of what we need to do is I think we do need something like a document or a proposal where we kind of list out all of the, I think starting with the different scenarios and platforms that we're targeting, like what operating system do we want to try and run, like have it run on, like, so if we're switching to like using Hyper-V VMs here, that would kind of limit us to at least one thing running Windows, right? And I think that for a while, at least Jay was trying to move away from that because people were getting more commonly trying to develop on like MacBooks or Ubuntu machines. But so I think we really need to kind of focus on trying and get on one supported operating system or narrow it down. And then maybe we can focus and make a little bit more progress on here because I feel like we were kind of thrashing for a bit, like, oh, it works on Ubuntu, but doesn't work on the new M1 or M2 Max and all of that. So I think we really just need to figure out what scenario we're trying to focus and then possibly look at these other scenarios. Because we had the K3S, there was the solution that I can't remember the individual's name that demoed something where they would install their own WSL distro and bring that up for the game servers and things like that. But we need to do all that. What do you think, James? And I mean,
I will start the cap. We have like a lot of ideas, and I think things get lost in the middle of these conversations is lacking.
yeah, I don't
It's
think
not-
it's like we don't need to put it in Kubernetes enhancements if we don't want to, but we should have some sort of at least an issue or a discussion where we can track like what platforms we're targeting for the for the host or for like running the initial scenario and setup. I don't really know what to call that, but
Cool.
cool. Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss or short meeting today? I guess we're done with me today. All right. See everybody.
We are probably not going to meet in 2 weeks,
Correct.
26.
Yeah, I think let's cancel the meeting for the 26th. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording now. All right, thanks all.
Thanks.
See everybody around.
Yeah, see-